What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hxro Labs Live. I'm your host, RT, on this Friday, June 11th, in the middle of sort of a poopy month. For those of you who have been trading over the last few months, it was a lot easier, a lot more fun. There was more dopamine in the market and adrenaline. And we now come up with our first major pullback. I mean, we've had a few major ones, 30%. But this is like the first time where it's like, fuck me, is that the end of the bull market? So we're going to get after it today. We're going to look at the Bitcoin chart, obviously. It's at a really interesting level right now. Next break should be very telling. We're going to pick through some alt charts. You know, a few people have asked, somebody asked about sushi. I'll definitely get to sushi. My thesis right now is long Bitcoin from the low 30s. So if I'm not long already in the high and mid 30s, it's a tricky spot. But with that Bitcoin, can I just sit still, or is there a trade I can make? Can I borrow on Binance margin and short some of these altcoins versus Bitcoin? That's what I want to look at today. I want to look through some of those charts live with you guys. I'll show you how I scan them. We'll see which alts are maybe high in their range through what people are calling complacency shoulders. And we'll see if we can find some interesting setups. Because if Bitcoin does well, and possibly even if it doesn't, I think a lot of alts are going to suffer versus Bitcoin. And I saw an interesting tweet today from Kobe that said, basically what you want to see is alts puking right now versus Bitcoin. And that's kind of like mid-cycle stuff. And I got to agree with him. If you're going to rotate back into Bitcoin for its next leg, new liquidity cycle, all that, I think that's probably what I want to see most. What's up, PMA Bull Alex? Good to see you. Smaller crowd today to kick off the stream, which isn't surprising. It's Friday afternoon. I don't know where you're from, but it's a beautiful day here. And I think a lot of people are just like, fuck it, I'm going to take the summer off. I'm going to go chill. I'm going to do some other stuff. And, that's probably not a terrible idea as far as like getting out and enjoying some of that nice weather that we have been missing through the winter as well as through COVID. So I've been doing a lot of that as well, trying to get out, get my golf game back. Never really had it, but if I can shoot under 100, I'm happy on any given day, which is what I've been doing this year. So we'll wait for the room to fill up a little bit. Maybe let me know how you guys are doing. Euro 2020 just started. Okay. Okay. Nice. All right. So we got Euro Cup on for soccer or football, as the Euros might call it. And that'll be interesting. I did hear locally that we actually just opened up patios this weekend, which is amazing. I'm probably going to go hit one tonight. And apparently, our premier, or governor, if you will, did that because he was pressured by his Italian cohort to basically like open that shit up. We need to be on the patio. It's Euro Cup. Let's go. So football is on. And I might actually watch a little bit, My Leafs got eliminated out of the playoffs again, first round. Boring. So I don't really have any sports juice going on right now. I'm not sure what the Raptors are doing, but I don't really watch them much. Anyways, let's get after it. I'm going to go pull up the old Bitcoin chart. Good to see you guys in here. Paul Paris, Pravin, Ro Jogan, one of my favorite podcasters. In fact, it was the Joe Rogan show that I listened to randomly while he was interviewing Andreas Antonopoulos. And that's actually why I'm here. It's what got me into crypto. And it was a funny story. It was very lucky. I Googled best Joe Rogan podcast because somebody told me to listen to it in May 2017. And the first one that popped up on this Google search was the one with Bitcoin Jesus, the father of Bitcoin education, in my opinion. I don't know what they're calling him these days, but Andreas Antonopoulos, absolute gem. And had any other episode popped up, I would have watched that one instead, and I never would have been involved in crypto, at least not as early as I was. So big fan of Joe Rogan in that sense, and Andreas. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. We're coming back, we're in this pennant, and it's driving people crazy. I'm seeing, exactly what you'd expect to see through this, which is strong opinions either way. There's a lot of high time frame stuff that says, you know what, this is the end of the bull market. That's not stuff that happens during a bull market. This has to go down more, or it should. I'm seeing a lot of people kind of giving the exact opposite opinion, saying, you know what, we're at weekly support. Things are way too bullish around the world. We've got a new, a country that just adopted Bitcoin essentially in El Salvador. And they're going to have volcano-powered mining and all that. And everyone's kind of placing their bets. And if you're in altcoins, a lot of them have drawn down incredibly already. And if you're heavily in altcoins, unfortunately, you have ridden this entire thing the sort of heaviest downwards, even though things like Solana and all that aren't that bad. I mean, Solana at around $40 is almost 2x from the low that it put in on the initial mega dump. So there are some bright spots. Now, I, for one, as you guys know, am leaning bullish here. If nothing else, because I think up or down, mid-long term, I mean long term, obviously I'm very bullish. That's why we're here. But, throughout the rest of the year, are we done with this cycle? Are we heading into something else and we don't get excited until the next halving? All that crap. I don't believe that. But whether or not we need to draw down to the 25s, to the 20s, I really think there is a good chance we will squeeze up first. And I've been saying that since back here, and I've been waiting for it, and I probably haven't been as active on my fib-pong trading as I should have been, because this has been a beautiful play the whole way through, right? Long the dip, short the short reload zone, long the reload zone, short that little reload zone, right here. And this is stuff, if you guys have been watching, you've been seeing me chart all the time, but we got up into this little short reload zone, great short. So I could have been a little more, focused entirely on that, but mostly, I was focused on buying up these dips. And on here, as you guys know, I got stopped out and then kind of freaked out the next day. I was like, oh my God, I'm on the wrong side of this one. And I got back in. And now we're just kind of chilling. Total squeeze here. But what I am seeing is the buy volume start to pick up a little bit. And that's really encouraging. Obviously, this week there was a lot of news. The positive news started to drive price. The negative news started to be ignored. That was another sign of mine that I was paying attention to that I think is not bad news for us. And so if we are heading way, way down, there's really two ways to get there. There's straight down in some way, shape, or form. Or there is squeeze up. Get everyone nice and bullish again. Get those shorts squeezed out. Some of that big Bitfinex short maybe shuts down, whatever. And then chill out right here. Maybe even not make it that high. And then. Or, of course, by the time we get up there, you never know where we're going to go. Things change. Suddenly it's like, oh my God, it was a bull. Now, I do think that regardless of how all that plays out, I'm not in a huge rush to see major new lows, major new highs. I mean, certainly not major new highs until somewhere later in the summer. I think that's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of inertia, and a lot of cleaning up to do before we're just like, hey, let's all buy Bitcoin above 65K. I just don't see it. So Q3, Q4, maybe we're going to round off, the year with some bullishness. But of course, if we're heading down, that can happen anytime. That can happen much quicker. So as you can see from what I'm all saying here, it is a confusing time to trade. It is not an easy trade, right? It's not like, oh, look, we were in an uptrend and let's keep going. But keep in mind, guys, that this bullish throwback to weekly support, obviously, it's a lot weaker in the sense that, it's like a 50% drawdown from the highs. Not going to sugarcoat it. That's just pretty much unprecedented for a bull market, as far as I know. Maybe in the first cycle when I wasn't here. And then, of course, we're on this weekly support. But it's not like that bullish throwback in a rip-roaring bull where you just get the tag and then it's like go time. We've been sitting here, just resting on it, soaking up whatever buys are there. And eventually the buyers at this level will run out. So we do need to move it, I think, pretty soon here. And that's why I'm keeping a close eye on this hourly this weekend. I say keeping a close eye. I don't plan to stare at it this weekend, but I do have alerts set. I was pretty pleased to see the 37K alert fired just before stream. And I'll zoom in to show you guys, what I'm seeing. Obviously, the tighter we get here in the coil, the more interesting it is to zoom in and just see what the micro stuff says. But this throwback here, this just an hour or two ago, I was watching thinking like, okay, really would like a reaction there if we're going to be pulling back. Because the other way to look at it, and again, this is just the way that chop will get you, is after this dump off the highs, we come back up into the short reload zone, tag that sweet spot, and down you go. So I really wanted to see this hold to tell me that we have sort of a bullish bias in here. The bulls are in control according to the 1 hour volume. Right here you can see all the buys are outpacing the sells, which just tells me that the momentum is in the bulls' court right now. Objectively, right? I go on Twitter, post something, and everyone's like, it's going to dump, it's going to pump. Like, I don't know. But I can tell you my setup, which was, buying some Bitcoin around here, and now I just have no idea where this is going to go. So then the question is, if you don't know, which frankly we never know, we you know, you can have a strong lean, you can have a weak lean. I'd say I'm leaning like over 60% to the upside out of here for whatever that's worth. You know, even if I say 95%, I'm still saying there's a 5% chance we could break down, but I'm probably in like the 65 to 70% camp that this will resolve bullishly, if nothing else, because there's just enough for me to think, like I said, up first, whether we go down later or not. And I have no idea, you know? I feel like I saw somebody today said, oh, these people are bearish on CT, but RT over here is buying Bitcoin. I'm inclined to side with him. And that made me nervous. I was like, shit. You know, I hope there's not a bunch of people making big bets on where I'm at right now, because again, it's closer to a coin flip than I'd like. But I am long and strong. I'm leaning upside, and I'm not taking any leverage right now. You know, I thought about it right here, just take a little leverage long. But again, there's just not a ton of RR here where it comes to like putting money to work in the market. I think I can find better situations to like really crank it up. So I bought some Bitcoin, and I'm holding it, and we're going to see if we ride up here a little longer. Breaking 40K is significant, right? If we get up above 40K, there are a lot of buyers that are saying like, okay, now we're bullish, I'll buy there. So, you know, getting up through this trend line obviously is the first step. I think it'll be a pretty quick move. I could expect wherever we go out of here to be like a 2 to 4K kind of candle day. And once we break 40K, it's not like, you know, I don't think that's going to be, oh, we're exhausted, we ran out of buyers. There's a ton of people, traders and styles of trading that are literally like, well, we're not going to buy until we break 40K. So I think if we can get above 40, we've got a lot of leg there to push us up into, you know, that 42 is a key breakdown level. I don't know if it would hold up again, but we'll see. If I had to paint the picture here, I could see something like this. Knocking on the door, retest, touch that 42, come back down, something like that, get 40 from the upside, and then, you know, and then really just push through this gap here. So that could be what we're in for in the next couple of weeks. And as much as downside would hurt people right now, because a lot of people are still obviously invested in crypto heavily, probably, I think the upside here would squeeze a lot too. But I don't really trade based on like what's max pain, because I don't presume to know what would hurt the most people. But I will tell you this: upside here would not be many people's friend in a big way, because there are a lot of people who sold their Bitcoin, sold their crypto, and they're in stables, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think taking some time off in the summer, I obviously took 1/3 of my portfolio into stables somewhere through all this carnage and just stuck it over on Nexo. It's like collecting some, it says up to 8%. So I think that's variable, probably closer to 3 to 7 most days. Especially now when people are like stabling up and doing more conservative shit. Those yields are going to fall off. But for me, it's more like just out of sight, out of mind. Can't touch it. And Sam Smith says, big fan of the show, man. Appreciate that. Glad you're here. Welcome. Used to confuse him with Pomp all the time. Joe Rowe joking. Yeah, candle close above. Yeah, candle close above 40 is what I'm looking for. But what's interesting right here is that we've got so much energy built up around this trend line that if we break north of here, I think it'd be really weird, not impossible, but really weird to just get rejected on the horizontal after that. We've tested 40K after breaking down once, twice, 3 times. Arguably fourth, it just got front run, but I wouldn't count that. And so this would really be the 4th test. And when you're looking at support and resistance, the 4th is a critical test, often is the one that'll break. So if we take energy from this pennant upwards, you know, I don't think 40 will hold. You know, I think this is the key level. And the fact that we kind of hit it, you know, hit here, this is a crazy little thing. I mean, I've been watching it pretty closely over the last couple of days. It's just like ping, 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 ping. Like, and the really sad thing, and this might be max pain right here, is that these things don't have to break out heavily, right? It can literally just like dribble down here and then dribble, like it can just totally not react to this. And that's going to be really anticlimactic. I've seen that happen a few times. But again, buy volume starting to bubble up down here. Haven't seen much of that all through this. So there's early signs to me that we're headed up, and I've positioned myself accordingly. You know, Bitcoin is my biggest bag now. I don't like altcoins here. I don't like them at all. I mean, look at this chart. If this was a coin, if this was a stock, if this was an asset, I mean, it's bullish. It looks really bullish. You know, you get down to this weekly support after a super overextended dump, And then you just get this really strong reaction to weekly support and then dribble down into the reload zone and just react right off that 786. Now bouncing 3, 4, 5 green candles in a row. I mean, we won't have to count the doji, but it is green. So I'm very bullish on Bitcoin dominance. That's the one thing I am sure of in this market, that this is going to break out highs and go here. That's like 95% to me, for whatever that's worth. Throwing out probabilities. Very confident in that, which is going to bring me to the setups I want to hunt for with you guys today. Now, ETH BTC obviously is the driver of Bitcoin dominance for the most part, being the second largest market cap. And so when I saw this breakdown and then I saw that other chart here, I thought, okay, we've got everything we need here to have an altcoin cooldown. And I want to see those alts cycling back into Bitcoin, ideally. I think right now, with where Bitcoin is at, it's probably not as probable. Probably not as probable. I think people could really be looking to cycle their alts just into USD because they don't know what the hell's going on. And that's kind of speaking to the fear in the market. Let's see if we can pull up the crypto fear and greed index. I'm curious what it's at today. I feel like it's in the 20s. Let's take a look. Yeah, we're back up into the 20s, 21 now on the fear and greed index. So, I mean, this is the kind of market to be thinking shopping versus extreme greed when it's very easy to do and everyone's doing it and it's going up and it's going up, and you get proven right very quickly when the thing you buy goes up shortly. But unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't sell, right? They don't sell because they're holding for more, and that is the nature of markets. And then they do sell, but not until they hit some pain point and they've lost money. And that's why trading is so messed up, because you are compelled to basically do the exact opposite of what you should do long term to be successful. So we're going to take a look through some alts today versus Bitcoin, because if there's one thing I like more than holding Bitcoin while it rallies, it's using margin, which is really risky, by the way. And in fact, Binance margin is particularly challenging and complicated, so I wouldn't recommend just rushing into that with any particular size. If I have like a handful of Bitcoin, like a couple Bitcoin, I might take like 0.25 and put on a position where if it gets liquidated, it's isolated margin, it's just that amount or whatever. But if this is going to rise up, then I need to be thinking not only about, some Bitcoin I can be long on, which is what I am, but maybe I can find a setup like this that's still up in the short reload zone or just broke down, and I can capture that short. So I'm actually increasing the amount of Bitcoin I have while Bitcoin potentially is rallying. That's sort of my alpha play right now. Like that would be my ideal scenario over the next little while. So capturing that next wave of Bitcoin dominance by spot longing and margin shorting some alts that are just overcooked and really need to wash out, because we know if you've been even just around since like DeFi summer last year, you know how hard these things wash out. So let's pull up the altcoin charts versus Bitcoin, because I have no idea what they're going to do versus USD. They might even move sideways. But if Bitcoin does break out of here, they are going to dump, almost certainly, versus Bitcoin. They already started, even just from this, right? From this move off the lows. And to me, that was also kind of a signal. I mean, of course, they can dump versus Bitcoin while Bitcoin's preparing to dump too. But that was actually a bit of a signal that there was a rotation going back into Bitcoin that was preparing perhaps for this big old short squeeze that I'm expecting in the next few weeks. So let's take a look at that. When is it wise to offload if you're still bag holding? Yeah, Jeroen, that is the toughest question in crypto when you're sitting in my chair. Is, I'm underwater, I'm holding a bag, it's down, it could go way down, again, right? We can drop 90%, then drop 90%, then drop 90%, then drop 90%. It's like infinite downside percentage wise. And, so the question being that you asked is, not looking for advice, and I appreciate that, because you know that I hate giving anything that sounds like advice. But then the question is, how do I get out of this? Like, do I wait for a bounce? I was like hoping for a better bounce. I didn't get one. Now it's dumping again. And that is the worst situation to be in with an asset. And that's why it's like, and not to beat a dead horse here, but that's why everyone you talk to who knows their shit and maybe has a following on Twitter, whatever, I'm still coming up on 5K, but there's a lot of, every big account out there that responsible is just 1, 2, 3, manage risk, stop losses. Don't get into those positions. So you have to make that tough choice. Things like sell when you can, not when you have to. So I'm going to preface it with that. And I'll tell you a story about somebody who was in a Discord I was in a couple years ago. Actually, you might even be watching, Casper, if you're here. Shout out to Casper. Greg, good man. He's actually the one that made our risk calculator. And he was stuck bag holding, and he asked me that question. And I kind of told him this. I said, look, sometimes when I just feel out of position and I know I fucked up, and there's a certain amount of capital in my portfolio that, like, yes, it's up, it's down, doesn't matter. It is cash. It has a value. Sometimes I just want to reset. And I always felt dirty doing it. And you often get compelled to do it at the worst time. But in some cases, in fact, I'd say in every case, once you clear your portfolio of those positions and you're just back into like a base asset, like Bitcoin, if that's your base, or USD, you can start to see clearly. You can start to look more objectively at the market again. And you're out of that position, so you're not emotional anymore, and you can take a week or two off and, up, down, up, down. What you don't want to do if you're going to do something like that is then go and sell it and then stare at the chart and be like, oh, and then it goes back up and you start measuring what you might have got if you just waited. You have to commit to something like that, kind of nuking my portfolio, so to speak. And it sounds gross, right? It's like, oh yeah, we have 50% drawdown, some alts are down 70%. Great time to nuke my portfolio. But if it's killing you, if it's driving you crazy and it's causing anxiety and you're not being effective as a trader or whatever you're trying to be in life, then often offloading that emotion by resetting can have longer term benefits. So to get back to the story with Casper, he ended up doing that. I told him, I said, look, this is not advice. I said, we could be at the lows. I don't know when this was. It was way back when. And, I said, we could be at the lows. We're way down. But he did it. And he was on something like a 40 to 60% drawdown, like absolutely gross. And he nuked his portfolio. He went to cash. And he instantly, obviously, and this is not saying this is the right idea, but like, he's like, I felt better right away. I got outside. I went and did some other shit. I just had this cash. I wrote down all the things. I journaled. I learned my lesson. He signed up for a course at TRI actually, and he went and he said, like, I'm coming back in hot with a plan. And I haven't checked in on him lately, but he's there. He's just completed level 3 sometime, maybe even a year ago now. God, time's flying. Anyways, all that said, he looked back like 2 months later, and those positions he sold were actually way down. So he saved himself a lot of pain and money not waiting for the bounce. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what coins are in, all that stuff. So again, this whole thing just makes me uncomfortable, because then you get somebody like 2 months later is like, you encouraged me to sell the dip. I didn't. I'm just saying, when I've been underwater before, or even, just getting uncomfortable with the market, I have nuked my portfolio before, and I instantly see things more clearly. So I think, I kind of extended that explanation because I think a lot of people here are probably dealing with the same kind of thing. Whether or not Bitcoin breaks up here, I really am not bullish on altcoins right now. I mean, versus USD, and to be fair, I haven't looked through 100 charts because I'm not bullish. I've set my sort of macro view of things, and I just haven't been looking. So I could be off. There could be some, and there's definitely going to be like, a coin picker's market where some do really well. I mean, look at ETH right now. Just holy shit versus BTC. I still hold a little Ethereum, but like a little, not much. 5% of my portfolio, which already I'm still like, why am I holding it? This is a short setup. Yeah, I missed my entry, but I could still have just like shipped, dumped my little bit of ETH I have. But it is where it is now. It's down into here. It's not very great to suddenly go and scoop up a little Bitcoin for it. So I'm not going to rush to that one. But let's take a look. I mean, I'm not even going to look at the USD pairs on alts right this minute, because I really am focused on, my base asset right now is Bitcoin. And I'd love to see if we can find some shorts, because if I want to, like, let's put it this way. If I want to express this in a trade, then I just need to find any altcoin within reason that is up in its range, came down, is back up into like a sort of short reload zone, right? Like something like that, where it's come up into an area where I can start thinking about shorting. So I'm going to go find those. If there's one out there, that's great. And that goes for USD too, right? If I'm really bearish on the market right now, which I'm not in particular. I mean, I'm definitely like uncomfortable as fuck, but why shorting Bitcoin here when maybe there's an altcoin that's, got a perp and it's just like way up in its pattern. Like I know Solana's outperformed. Now I'm not going to short Solana. That's just asking for it. But, You know what I mean? Like you find it, if I'm going to express my bearishness in the market versus USD or bullishness for that matter, but it's a little trickier on the bull side because, Bitcoin pumps, not all altcoins will pump with it. If Bitcoin dumps, all altcoins will dump with it. So on the short side, if I really wanted to short here, I'd probably try to express that through an altcoin that's just like gone way up. I feel like without examples, this is hard. Now look, see these, for example, am I going to short this? Is that my best way to short something? Hxro, like regardless of the project, it's already way down. It's way down to its perps base. But look at ADA. ADA, I've been looking to short for about the last 7 months. It's a little higher up in its range. Maybe there's something here, right? So if I want to express my shortness in the market, I got to find a chart that's, maybe like a little anomaly right now. Maybe it pumped the other day. I know a few coins each day on Binance, you see they're up like 100%. So if you want to be a big bear in the market, you got to find the right chart to express that. So I don't see too many here. They're all pretty much not catching a bid, as you might expect. Because when the market gets unstable and shaky, altcoins are the riskiest. It's almost like within this risk-on asset that is crypto, there is a risk-on and risk-off mode. And alts are risk-on only. In other words, when we go into a risk-off environment like we should be in right now, or as behavior goes, we should be behaving in a risk-off way. Altcoins are not a way to express less risk, obviously, right? So none of these are actually really in a good short window. HNT is like the closest to it, so it's still not. But if we get, these are all versus USD though, which is exactly, KSM, right? Call me crazy. The one you end up shorting is always the one that seems the strongest. Everyone's like, KSM's so strong, parachain's coming. But if Bitcoin dumps, which is what this bet would be on, then KSM almost certainly won't escape that. And bulls or bears just took over in the short reload zone. So KSM, interestingly enough, on the perps is probably the only one here that I've seen just now. And as you can see, it actually just came in. I mean, what a sick tag on the 786. So, so sucky that this isn't in here now, where I could actually, risk up to the 88.6 maybe. Obviously, risk up here is ideal. That's a big range. 21% is insane for anything with leverage. Could just go 2x or whatever, but and then you only need 3 to 1. So that's a trade. That sucks that it already happened, but that's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for. So, and then it's like, okay, if I'm bearish on Bitcoin, I think it's going to dump. I mean, this thing will probably dump a little harder. And the fact that the bears just showed up here, maybe there is going to be a trade here. No, let's not run away from this thing just yet. I mean, you zoom in. Usually I don't sit there on the daily on perps and take trades. It's usually off the hourly. And you've got kind of everything you need here. Not really. Might get a bearish div on the 4 hour. Yeah, look at that. I mean, oof. Sometimes like hunt for the setup on the 4 hour, trade it on the 1 hour, but there it is, right? Big fat RSI div. Momentum sucked out of that move up into the short reload zone. I mean, that's picture perfect. God, I wish I was looking at this yesterday or 2 days ago, as it were. Anyways, the good news is it's not all over yet. These kinds of things, you can just fractal in and sometimes you get this. So if this happened over the weekend, maybe Bitcoin does break out and KSM's like, I'm coming. And then it's like, nah, you're probably not. And there's your entry, or my entry, as it were. So not really sitting here saying like, hey, let's go short KSM, as much as just illustrating kind of how I just did that scan, what I was looking for, and then how I might zoom in and try to trade it. So if we can squeeze up in here, very possible, if not probable this weekend, especially, I actually hope Bitcoin doesn't break out on the weekend. It's less trustworthy. I'd rather it just like have a flat, shitty weekend and then just explode on Monday. That'd be so sick. But that's kind of a quick way to find something to short if you want to express bearishness right now, which I do versus altcoins. So leaves are constant disappointment. Love the show. Thanks for sharing. Andrew Merritt. Yes, I am in the GTA. Sounds like you might be too. That's awesome. At some point, we're going to have a party in Toronto. I was hoping Hxro would throw a party. Apparently, they threw one in late 2019, right before I joined in spring of 2020. So sad face, missed it. Beg hold it through the bear before. Yeah, it was super painful, man. I'll be honest, through the last bear, I sold a bunch. I sold some at the top. I really did. I took some out. I paid myself. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Whether it goes up or down, I just should probably pay off my debts and shit. But I bag held like 2 to 3 times what I took out. And I did sell most of it, like just somewhere through the bear market. Ultimately near the bottom, probably. And I held one coin all the way through, which I've already told you guys about on stream, Aeon. And I shit you not, I sold it like 2 months ago after the CEO came out, basically, or the founder, and he's like, yeah, we're going to pivot to this other thing, but we still like Aeon, and maybe we'll come back someday. And I sold it. I was like, fuck it, I guess we're done here. And then it pumped like 10x over the next 2 weeks through February and March. It was hilarious. Imagine holding something all the way through the bear market just to sell the bottom before the bull. I did that. I was there. Sometimes you just need to resync with the market. Exactly. That's the feeling, right? And so it depends too. Like if you're an investor and you're like, you know what, I'm like personally, I'm holding ID. And all things considered, if I had my cash in hand right now, would I cram that much into ID at this level? Probably not. Honestly, probably not. But I'm in the position. I went in with a thesis. I went in saying, I don't really care what happens around here. I just want to be in because over the next year, this thing just looks primed fundamentally. So I'm going to stick to that plan. However, outside of this coin, I'm not really an investor as much as I am a trader. I mean, my fund, we invest in things, and through that I'll hold things. But myself, day to day, my trade plan is not about holding throughout the year. It's more about get in, get out, and have more when you get out. And so, as somebody pointed out, Alex, says sometimes you just need to resync with the market, and it's really hard to see things clearly when you're in a bad position. That's just a really interesting, like, psychological take you guys should consider, that once you're out of a position, you can see it clearly. And sometimes I get out of a position, I see it clearly, and I go, that actually was, a decent position. It was okay. I'm going to get back in. And you can get back in. I mean, aside from missing some major candle, you can get back in. You just want to try to avoid being like, ooh, sell, ooh, get back in, ooh, sell, ooh, get back in. And that's just, getting chopped up over a series of weeks. But yeah, absolutely, we'll see things more clearly if I close a position. Now look at the 5 minute here on Bitcoin. I love this. I was doing a little day trading today. Didn't ever end up taking a position, but I was pulling up the old Session HD VP VR or whatever it is, the VSPR or whatever. And it basically just shows you within this 24-hour range, which started at the daily open, it gives you your own little range to kind of day trade. As you can see, the reload zone here did its job, and there was a trade in there, but I wasn't looking to actively trade it as much as just set up this template to get back into some of these 5 minutes. Because the one thing that I guess, I wouldn't say regret, but the one thing I should have done more of through this is scalp trade. I mean, this is my jam. People say, oh, Bitcoin's boring. I'm like, nah, man, reload zone, reload zone, reload zone. So, and I part of the reason was that I have these templates I look at, like this chart here, and it's not really set up for that. So made the new template today, more for like 5 and 15 and 30 minute charts. And, this is really interesting. If you guys ever pull this tool up, it's the volume profile, but it's the session volume. And it just shows you like the 24-hour ranges, and it can be a lot of fun. So I don't usually do it. It's a little higher stress, higher maintenance. I prefer to like swing trade the 4-hour, but get back into it today. And if I was trading this in that scalpy kind of way, for the record, we're coming up into the short reload zone. And so, if the trend here has been trendless, like if it's been like, hey, I'm a range, look at me, then usually it's not great to like bet on that changing, Trading the range is about trading the range is trading the range. So every time you like see a range and you're like, this time it's going to break out, it's just usually a low R bet. It's better to just say, oh, we're ranging, we're up at the highs, I'll take the short. Ooh, we're down at the reload zone, I'll take the long. And as you can see, that's worked really well through here. So, it's Friday night. I plan to go hit a patio after this with my lady. So I'm not really looking to get spicy here, but this is probably a great place to take a look at a little scalpy short. I'd actually rather even wait a bit here. You miss things when you wait too long, but you also don't get washed, and you can get some better entries. So right here you have What? Why is it doing that? It's weird. It's weird. Anyways, the POC's down here, but yeah, I'm kind of rambling now. But looking around up here, take this, take that. It's not actually a terrible trade for me to take because the way I trade, get that 3-to-1 RR, get that fill up around the 786, this little POC here, and then if I hit my 3-to-1, I close half, and then I let the rest ride. And since I'm spot long, this would be an interesting little hedge too. If we do, in fact, get up here and just shit the bed and fall out of bed over the next few days. Possible. So, yeah, here we go. Oh my God, it's dumping. Anyways, so this will be an interesting level actually through the stream. What is it? 337 already. Wow. But we can keep an eye on this over the next little bit. That's a 5-minute chart, so we'll actually get to watch that. No, I didn't get the DAI fixed. I'm waiting for the plasma transfer back. 7 days. I should have just waited. But instead what I did is found other funds and aped them into malt money anyways, but a day late on something that you definitely want to be on time for. And literally 3 hours after I aped into it, it basically lost peg and looks like it's going to die. So won't lie, that caused me some stress over the last 24 hours. Let's see if we can pull up this shitty little chart. It's not dead though yet. But when you see a stable coin, I mean, obviously it's an algo stable, so it's going to be volatile, but like, it's not really what you want to see. So here's RT FOMOing in at around here, being like, oh, cool, I'll just go out for a few hours, and then coming home and be like, oh my God. And they have an auction system where you can basically auction, buying it on the discount, and then when it gets back to peg, you get paid out from the treasury, and the first rewards that come in get paid to those auction buyers. And so I did pick up some at the auction to kind of like double down on a loss. But we'll see. I was talking to the dev last night, or I wouldn't say I was talking, I was listening to the dev talk last night on the Discord. And they are very much in an experimental phase, obviously. I put in something I am able to lose, not really willing to. Definitely a little sized up more than I should have. But it's not gonna, it's not gonna ruin me. It's just a little stressful, a little stupid. 5 or 6% drawdown of my entire portfolio. Like that sucks. So, yeah, that's what you're asking about. Yeah, I hope it all goes well, man. I mean, they've got a big treasury. They're working on some stuff. They admitted that they didn't think it was going to be this big, this fast, and they hadn't actually had a live action sort of loss of peg outside of the testnet. And they were like, he's like, yeah, I expected maybe a couple hundred people to be messing around with this, and it would dip a little bit, and we'd buy $2,000 in the auction out of the treasury, and we'd bring it back up, and we would just experiment and let this thing grow. But of course, apes can't have nice things. And within 24 hours, they had thousands of people putting in millions of dollars, and their TVL hit $60 million within 24 hours. He's like, yeah, we did not expect that. A little naive, perhaps, but not nefarious. I think the chances of rug for what I got in is probably pretty low, given that he was on there chatting with us all last night, and he's been on a video before. But this is going to take a lot of faith restoration, and the market's not exactly a good confidence game right now. So probably just my mistake, and we'll lick my wounds and move on. So there's that. But if it does, if it does get back to peg, I think I 3x'd what I bought down here, and already got half of what I got out here last night around here. Like I was kind of, a little freaking out, obviously. So when it got up to here last night, I unbonded half my LP and dumped it. So, which obviously everyone else did, and that's why you get these failed projects. So, we'll see. Don't know what I went on that tangent for, but yeah. So we're coming down here on the 5-minute. Oh, should have shorted it live. But, so without FOMOing in here though, because there wasn't really any divergence on this move up. So often what I'll see up here is you come in, you get your first people dumping it, and then you actually do get one more push up, and that's the exhaustion push, and then you fall back in. So that actually might be something for me to keep an eye on here after the stream today, because if I can get a nice tight short set up here while being net long, then I'm kind of hedged both ways. We break out, I get stopped out, my spot longs do well, and as we showed earlier, if we break out of here, I think we have a long way to go. So it's like, low risk in that sense. And then, but if we dump and if we come down and if we roll through here over the weekend, which we could still do even before we just break out, I got myself a nice trade. I think I just talked myself into taking that trade. If it comes in, it hasn't come in yet. I need a higher high here on like some kind of divergence. So we'll see. Good example of that. And I do want to get to altcoins versus Bitcoin because I think we can find an interesting setup here today. Like I hope we can. But this was a great signal. Oh. Are we still live? Trading view just went off. Oh, it's back. Okay. Hi guys. Oh. Yeah. Okay, the stream's just a little sketchy. Somebody's asking me, should I buy altcoins or wait? I don't know. Can't tell you what you should do. I'm waiting. Right now, anyways, check out this hourly though. If you guys want to see what I'm talking about with the higher high with divergence. So we came up here on what's Friday now? Thursday. And as price came into this resistance, higher high. Look at this. The RSI just puked. Like even as this happened and then we went higher, that little spring up, the RSI was like, nah. The MACD was already negative. This was a sick short setup and I was not paying attention. Like I was not focused on it. But that's the kind of thing I look for. At resistance, almost certainly in this short reload zone here, coming into key levels like the 786. RSI has already fallen out of the bed. MACD already down negative. And then you get a squeeze up. It's not a time to flip bias. That's a time to get short. Again, if you're trading like the hourly, but didn't have a huge breakdown yet. So anyways, net bullish over here. And that's part of why I wasn't looking. But let's go look at some altcoins. Somebody asked to trade, to chart sushi. So let's do that first. Literally the first thing that happened when we opened up the chart. Okay, so KSM, I'm going to say I want an alert 463 just before I take this chart off. If we go back above 463, I want to know about it because that might be a short setup coming in. Other than that, sushi, I think I'll take a look at the FTX chart because that is the one that gets all the volume, at least that I can see. Uh-oh. I'm seeing some spinning wheels on the streams, guys. Just ping me if it's getting really choppy. Shouldn't be. I'm gigabit hardlined with a new system, so it's got to be perfect, or I'm pissed. Now let's go take a look. Yeah, I mean, sushi is not in a good place. If I'm bag holding, I'm pissed because I'm now kind of way out of any sell zone. I'm in the reload zone. I mean, this is where I want to be buying, not selling. So I'd be pretty cheesed. And then the question is like, well, okay, so then I should be buying. It's like, well, not really. Because as you guys know, and this is what I've been saying the last couple of weeks, you get into these zones, tops come in fairly quickly. Don't talk about Bitcoin for 3 months. It sat up there, but you know what I mean? In general, highs come in quickly and reverse strongly. But lows take a long time to form. And you can look everywhere you want in the market. Bottoms take months and years to come in on some markets. Tops, not so much. So here, what am I looking for? Well, chilling, breakdown, bullish divergence, MACD doesn't follow. And then, and then however long this takes, we talk about this all the time. And then, wait for that breakout, wait for the buy volume to start ramping up again down there. And then it's like, okay, now I'm interested. Show me a dip and then buy that. That could be months away, which could be really good news for you having a good summer. I'll be live, really throughout the summer. So you can always just hop on here. I know not everyone's like, I don't know how to fucking look for that on my own. Well, first of all, I'm here to teach you how to do it. Second of all, I'm just going to be doing it almost for you. Not saying, when to buy, what to buy, no advice, but it's like, I'll let you know if the trend changes. How you trade that trend is entirely up to you. But right now it's trending down. It's looking like shit, and I don't care how much TVL sushi has versus Uniswap or anything else. Nobody's going to speculate on that when we're in this kind of market state. With the fear comes the dumping of the alts, period. So, yeah, we'll see how low it gets. What I really want to see is that I'm wrong, and we just spike into something, and then Bitcoin goes ape again, and then everything, and then we just have like a big V-bottom recovery. But I'd say the odds of that are like less than 1%. High probability that we just need to fuck around through these kind of zones for the next few months. That's December all the way over here, so probably not that long, but you never know. It's going to take as long as it takes. And if I can be patient and I can wait, and for the record, I talk about this all the time, but I suck at it. I've not been very patient with things like Bitcoin. Aping around a little bit, admittedly, over the last week. I'm in, I'm out, but I've got my sort of bearings now and I'm set. But if I can be patient and let all the alts do all they want, I mean, waiting a while, sure, but think of the discount I might get. Think of, whatever level, and then the opportunity cost, right? I'm not sitting in sushi, I'm sitting in USD or Bitcoin, whatever. And then when it is ready, I'm in. And within a month of me getting in, it's already doing what I want it to do, instead of like, I'll just hold and wait. I don't like that anymore. I don't like holding, waiting, and praying for the market to pay me. I like to just, let the market show me what it needs to. So that's that. Now let's take a look at what I talked about at the start of the show, which is altcoin Bitcoin pairs. I really just want to do a quick scan of these, because if there's one that's like setting up a really nice short, then I want to use some of that spot long Bitcoin I have on margin and short these things. Maybe Bitcoin does get up to 40K, 43K, 51K. Very possible through this range exploration. Oh, we just got that high. Very possible. But what if I could get up there? And if that happens, versus Bitcoin, a lot of these are going to dump. And then, maybe I have more Bitcoin. Not only that, but the price has gone up. That's sort of, again, my dream scenario. So let's just look through here. There's one, right? Cardano, something I've been waiting to short since like back here. Talking to Rob and Dan on the thing in March, I said, I'm going to short that when the time comes. So I'm a man of my word. We are in the short reload zone and we just broke down. Now, the thing that sucks is that sometimes these don't come back for you. I'll give you an example right here. This is my ETH setup. It never came back for me. It bounced here, and I thought, oh shit, did it just flip that to support? I better wait. And then it broke down. I was like, cool, next, anything I'm going to short. And then literally gave me nothing. It just went zoom. So that can happen, and that sucks. In retrospect, I'm like, oh, I should have just taken a small position and just put it on and not cared, big wide stop loss. Who cares? But I was trying to get some size, so I need a bearish retest, and I missed the whole thing. Greedy. And that, that could be happening here on ADA. It's pretty sharp. That's a pretty sharp dump. So I can't short it here. There's no value to me shorting it here. My invalidation is so high up, I'd have to short like $10 worth to make it, whatever. So I'm going to wait. But I think this is a really interesting level here. If I can get it, I'm going to take it. Because your downside potential, or upside rather, is pretty large. Especially, people are like, ADA, it's vaporware, there's nothing there, and then everyone else is like, no, it's coming soon. Well, how about sell the news? Because I still think even if it goes live, and we see that all the time, right? Like mainnet, sell the news. Like this might be the mainnet sell the news of all mainnet sell the newses. If Cardano's even out, I know there's some projects that are like Card Starter and some other ones. Like, are they actually built on it? Is there? Yeah, I guess there's an Explorer, so maybe they actually have some transactions happening. They do. They have epochs. Latest block. Holy shit. So there's a few transactions happening. So we might be witnessing that sell the news event where it's like, yeah, okay, Cardano's live. It's not vaporware. They have a real thing. There's, there's value locked in maybe. There's some DeFi coming. But there's not friggin' $47 billion worth of value there. So we sell the news. Right? Speculation of it drove it up higher than it could ever have possibly maintained with real, raw, organic demand. And so when it turns into a demand-hungry environment, right, the speculation now is kind of drawn out. It's like, oh, fuck, it's live. There's no more speculation left, at least in the short term. And the actual demand is nowhere near as high as we drove it. And I say we, I never bought any, but I should have. And so you see the sell the news. Anyways, long story about why I want to short Cardano. And I wanted to short it fundamentally before I've been this. Now this chart is showing me a great setup. But I need it to squeeze up to here. God, if it does that, Such a sweet setup. And so the cool thing about that is like, okay, I want to be spot long Bitcoin. Take part of one of those Bitcoins or one of those Bitcoins, or like whatever. It's irrelevant, really. It's a matter of my portfolio size versus my risk. And then I go stick it into Binance margin, and I basically borrow against it to sell Cardano here. And then if this goes down, I close that position. I get more Bitcoin while Bitcoin hopefully breaks north of this. That's yet to be seen. You know, I really wouldn't be shocked if this weekend is just shitty and boring. It's almost like whatever this weekend does, we can fade. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if this weekend is just like, oh no. And then it's like Monday. That might be the best scenario. What you don't want to see is like a fake low volume weak ass breakout on the weekend, and then Monday comes in and it's like, haha, 40K bitches. Anyways, who cares? Just go up. Don't care how you get there. Don't care when you get there, as long as it's within the next 8 days. So yeah, Cardano. God, long-winded today. Let's go. Oh, they added new colors. I was asking about that. It only had 5 before, so you can only make 5 custom lists. We'll make that the baby blue. Oh my God, look at that. Yeah, these Bitcoin pairs, man. I'm telling you. For those of you who follow me on Twitter at randomtask555. You might appreciate the mini thread that I put out early in the week last week, basically pointing this out, that the writing was on the wall for this to happen, and that was bad news for every altcoin that trades against Bitcoin specifically. Uniswap coins probably a bit immune to it, at least in the first, they're not like algo driven where like Bitcoin pumps a bit and they all just dump together. Those will escape that. But look at this. Okay, so what does that look like? Across the board, if you want to use this chart as an example, like we're just getting started, guys. Sorry, I hate to say it. Sorry to say it, but if we are going into a Bitcoin positive environment or even Bitcoin negative environment, these things dumping versus Bitcoin is like seems inevitable. And I say that just because through 2017 and that altcoins, they have their seasons, they have their windows, and we just had one, even though all altcoins didn't absolutely rip face like I was hoping. But, consolidation range, I mean, this is what we've been putting in the newsletter for weeks now. This is 4 weeks of newsletters saying this is where we consolidate. And consolidate first, possibly reverse, and this tag should come in at some point. The 20-week MA, I don't think we just lose that and never touch it again. So we might be looking at like 50+% dominance, which is doom for altcoins versus Bitcoin. Anyways, so if that wasn't abundantly clear, I am bearish on altcoins versus Bitcoin just because of that. Now, interesting to see Algo kind of holding on. Algo was really disappointing through the big window and might be equally disappointing on the way down. In other words, it may not react as much. I think there's a large amount of Algo just staked. So it could be something to do with that, where there's just like people are staking it, they're getting their 5%, whatever it is, and they're not going to suddenly just go and dump it. What's really scary though is like when you have that huge amount staked and there's faith in the network, there's faith in crypto, we're in a bull market or we're just in a crab market, people will stay staked. But if things change dramatically and if things get really ugly, and if some of those stakers decide to start to cut and run and they say, I'm just getting the hell out, 5% is not worth, an 80% drawdown, whatever, I can't go through 2018 again, then that can really heat up. And you can sometimes just get these like staker capitulations that are just gross. So, keep an eye on that. I'm not saying that'll happen, but it's like everyone's like, oh, 70% of the network is staked. It's like, yeah, because they think number go up. If number go back down, that 5% suddenly doesn't seem that sexy. You find out who's got real hands. And in most cases, majority of the crowd does not. So keeping an eye on that. Alice, not a good short. Alpha, well, look at this chart. That did not work. God. See, and this is why I use stop losses. Buy, didn't sell because that's not my take profit. Whoa, stopped out, and thank God. If you ever needed an example of why you put on a stop loss, this is it. Things can get ugly and they go way out of hand. Anchor. It's better. It's certainly better for a potential short setup. It's already broken down, but if anything, that just confirms it's gonna. So now it's like, can I get a retest? I might put this on the short list. And that might be, you know, that's like sometime next week. We go here, we go here. I don't know. No. Back up into here, back up into here. Oh, that's a little wishful. It's like a 2-month window, but if I could even just get like a retest of this breakdown point, that's a really nice short. Again, versus Bitcoin. No idea what these things will do versus USD. So actually, 256. Let's get an alert on that. If it goes up to 256, and the sick thing is, like, these things can happen so fast. You know how many charts I've done this on, and I'm like, I try to front run it with an alert. Like, if it goes up at all, I want to know. And then you look, and it's just like, and then it's like wick, and then back down, and then dumps. And you're like, that alert didn't do shit for me. I wasn't ready. So if I'm really serious about one of these at the end of the day, I might actually go and set some asks with alerts, but asks. Nothing really here is that exciting. What you want to do is find the thing that is going against the trend, right? So if all these are dumping, find the one that pumped yesterday. Find the one that's like going to revert back down to the mean. I don't think I have all the pairs. BNB, as you can see here, I was speculating that it would, holy shit. To the pip. Oh, didn't trade that one. Oh, well. BNB was definitely one. And then that was a good one because it's kind of like echoing Ethereum, right? So we had Ethereum, big complacency shoulder, up into here, drop down, right? And I missed that one, as we talked about. I should have run and looked at BNB because it's like 2 days behind. But I'll bet dollars to donuts it's going to see this reload zone down here. Although it is at a support level, so we'll see. How bullish will Bitcoin get in the next 2 days? Will it save? This is trading against Bitcoin, so if it gets too bullish, this thing dumps anyways. Let's put that on there. I just want to have that on my list. Sorry, guys, I'm ignoring the chat as we do the scan because I acknowledge that every time I read the chat, if I get a question, I go off on like a 10-minute tangent. And I genuinely, I think I just, oh God, did I just go through the list second time? Or did I start halfway? I don't know. God, these things are getting wrecked right now. Comp, DeFi. God, DeFi stinks right now. Now, all these things are good. And they're no less good than they were 2 months ago. But you guys got to understand, and most of you probably do, if you've been around a little while. Yeah, Streamer was the one that pumped the other day like crazy. God, what a killer. Killer chart. This was the Tika pump. He wrote it in his newsletter, said data's going to be the next big thing. 5 to 5 million. And then it, of course, retraces that entire pump. Like clockwork. You guys will see that in markets, especially crypto. And so it's like, and I waited. Thank you. And I didn't actually buy back. But I did resist the urge to FOMO into this, obviously, and then to buy back. But I like data, man. They partnered with like HP, Hewlett Packard back in 2018. They had some really nice juice coming along through the bear market. And then obviously this came and I was like, oh, fuck, all that time I missed it. And then I missed it again. But this is one I wouldn't mind putting on the books for the longer term. But not today. And you can't short it, so it doesn't fit today's look. Is this one? Decred. Ooh. I don't know if there's Decred perps or Binance margin. I can just check here on the side. DCR. Yeah, actually they do have 3x margin, so I could theoretically pull this up for a short. And it's actually fitting the bill really well. You have all this buy volume driving it higher. Kind of looks a little inorganic. It's a little weird. Little body. Looks like a bot. But now you're up here. Look left. See if we find any reason why it stopped. Or, levels. Resistance. You don't say. So, yeah, it's come into some weekly resistance. I think that is. Yeah. Wow. I just did that. Where'd it go? There it is. So that's resistance denoted by the bright pink red. And as part of a larger reversal, because this is an old coin, part of a larger reversal, like if I was really high time frame bullish on this thing and I wanted, it's not unusual to see a weekly W, which you kind of got down here, but I think more on a bigger scale, you end up something like this. So I could see this. Back into a reload zone, back up here, break out. My God, if you see that, get long Decred. But right now, I could see us visiting down here. And so, yeah, Decred is an interesting one to think about for my short idea. I mean, on the other hand, I mean, certainly short term here, resistance, blah, blah, blah. But like, look at this buy volume down here. So be counter to a broader picture that I actually see on that chart. But okay, I'll put it on the list. You guys are just getting the live, you know, this is how I scan shit. I'm just narrating my brain right now. The key to, you know, a good scan is a watch list. You know, get that watch list set up on TradingView. If you guys want, actually, I can upload those files in the Discord. So join the Hxro Labs Discord. Link is in the description on YouTube, not on TradingView. Ping me on TradingView. I can see you guys there. If you want that link to join our Discord, it's free. Just a whole bunch of traders in there looking for juice. Crypto Messiah's got a channel in there, so do I. And I could post the files for these, although I must admit they're probably a little out of date. Oh my God, Dogecoin. How did I not think of this first? Yes, I want to short Dogecoin. Because I'm a salty old boomer that didn't long it. Ugh, already came and went. Look at that shit. Like, what an easy thing to, not like, oh, it's definitely going to dump, but like easy to speculate that it might. The hell's it doing up there? Memes only last so long, and especially in the bull market, or excuse me, like a bear market. So, but you know, I'm certainly not shorting it here. But if we can do this, anything up in here, it suddenly gets very interesting because Doge, you know, for all the like, it always pumps in the bull market, but it always dumps in the bear market too. It is like the human emotion coin. And so with fear incoming, potentially, I mean, fear is here. It has been here for weeks, but if fear is going to persist, that's what I need on Doge if I want to get short. And I really do. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's actually set an alert for, this is a little throwback, but I want to front run that even. 258, I just want to see it. Excuse me, 958. Hunt short, question mark. All right, so I'm set up for Doge now. If it gets interesting, I will know about it. And if I think it really looks interesting, I'll be sure to tweet about it. Okay, I'm going to check in with the chat real quick in a second. I think we're close to the end of this scan. Might as well just finish it. Or we're on our second run through the friggin' list because I am a noob. Ethereum, Bitcoin, yeah, missed that one. Too bad. Too bad, so sad. So as with most ideas, timing can be really tricky, right? I'm often early or late. But when you find it and you're in the sweet spot, the key is just not losing much between the times that you nail it, right? Back to that risk management. Be early all you want. Be late all you want. Just don't be losing money in between all the time. You're right on time. FTT, not really one I want to short fundamentally. I think it's super undervalued given what they offer and the whole Coinbase valuation. But they, you know, this coin doesn't just go up only. It has its ups and downs for weeks and months at a time. I've watched it. I've held it through those. So if it's going to have the sort of, I mean, it's got all the markers for it, right? Decreasing volume at the new highs. Whoop. What was that all about? There it is. You know, it has all the markers. I'm guessing there was, let's just get rid of all that. I'm guessing there was some bearish divergence as well, which, you know, again, not the be all end all, but it's a thing. OBV's rolling over. MACD rolling over. RSI kind of rolled over at the very end. Broke down out of overbought, which is normal. So yeah, I would be willing to short this as a pure, you know, TA trade, but I don't really want to short FTT. If anything, I might sell, but well, and here's the thing. I don't even want to sell the spot that I have because I'm using it to reduce my fees. Staking it or whatever. So yeah, not going to sell anything, but I am certainly going to be looking to buy this one in size when this is all said and done. And wouldn't it be nice if old RT in the reload zone could meet up sometime later I wouldn't count on this, but if something like this happens, oh my God. Yeah, it wouldn't be like straight down like that. It would probably be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But however it ends up down there, if we get into this zone on FTT, fool me once, not twice. Be loading up. Is that it for the scan? I think so. Probably it. Any other up here? Gas. Gas actually looks like it'll come down. Big, stinky old stilt, big gap on the VPVR. I don't really see much setup here. It's just a messy, gross looking chart. But shorting this, I'll put it on the list. No alerts, but I'll put it on the list. Because again, if we get a counter trend rally, like a little bounce week, Gifto was another one that rallied this week. Nothing really there. This one actually looks weirdly bullish. This chart makes me hard. Hard BTC. This is a really bullish chart. Not gonna lie. Bounce up off the lows, back down to the reload zone, breakout on volume, retest the breakout level. Oof. In any other market state, I want to long that. But this is a really nice chart of like people that are like, well, when do I get interested in altcoins again? Get interested in your altcoin again when it looks like this. Right now I think we're like here on a lot of altcoins. I mean, obviously we got higher on a lot of them, but like we're at the breakdown. We're at the arrival into the reload zone on a lot of altcoins. And you can see once it arrives, it can often just suck for quite a while until you see, boom, bullish breakout, reversal, uptrend. Now watch in the next 2 weeks, hard is just going to be like Gifto, and it's just going to go ham against all odds, and I'm going to be like, should have longed it. But my macro is, stay away from alts versus Bitcoin for a bit, so I'm not touching them. See there. Me too. Level 1 TRI. Yeah, if you guys are in level 1 TRI and you signed up for the May thing, congrats. That is not easy. To take a plunge, spend some money on yourself, and commit to the time. But I'm really excited to hear that. A few of you guys talking about joining it. I think that's dope. I think you will really appreciate that you made that decision. BitClout will save your ID bag. Hell yeah, it will, man. I'm pumped about BitClout. I don't care what the haters say. In fact, the haters just make me think it's going to do better. Yeah, let's take a look at BitClout. BitClout in 19 hours is going to have its deflation bomb, which is going to like cap the supply. I think it's something like 10 million, maybe, which is so exciting because it doesn't affect my bag at all directly. It's not like dilution or anything. And, I'll just own a larger percentage of what will ever exist. And before it was like a bonding curve that just kind of went on infinitely. And it was probably going to cap at like on the high end, like 19 million. Now I think it's the deflation bomb, I think, is 10 million. And I expect, based on the sources that I have, what I've heard, that sometime around early July, which is only a couple weeks away now, we're going to have BitClout listed on major exchanges. At least one, probably more than one all at once. I think it could just be like an IOTA, where, you're just like, what the fuck's IOTA? And then it's on like 5 major exchanges on day one. That's what I hope, obviously. A little biased. But I really think that's in there. I mean, Coinbase Ventures invested in them. Huobi invested in them. So it'd be really weird if those two aren't in the conversation. And Binance loves volume. They'll eat up anything that's available. So why not all of them? They've open sourced their code. Yeah, so I guess we did start midway because I haven't seen this chart, Kava. Oh my God. Komodo. I mean, this is why I like to be a trader, guys. Made some good money on Komodo this year, trading it from this breakout, buying a little more on this retest. I actually even sold a little too early. I think somewhere in the mid 5s, like here I sold some and I was like, oh no. And then I sold the Chaos PRZ and I was like, oh no. And I did spend, like, this is a daily chart. So I spent like 1, 2, 3 days underwater from my take profits, thinking like, oh God, is it going all the way up here? Is this just a rip-roaring bull? And I sold on week 2. But I didn't buy back and I just was like chilling. And now look at it. This is why I like to trade. I don't have any anymore. I sold it all up here. And I even regretted selling it all up there, but I don't now. Now we can start thinking about rebuying. So one good example of that. I only remember that because, yeah, this obviously chart that I did a lot of charting on. We're now at the sweet spot. So, get short, start selling, taking profit, get back long, hold in patience. Again, we just arrived down here. So I'd say let's live it. Give it some time to clean up, whatever that's going to look like. Months, maybe. Like mid-July. Okay, start of July, I'm really starting to reconsider. We'll see what the charts look like. We'll see how high dominance gets. But if dominance gets up here, oh my God, guys, alts are going to get roasted. Now, for those of you who weren't around in 2017, yeah, I'm going to do some chart requests, guys, here in a sec. We are past the hour, so I do have to think about wrapping up soon. Patios just opened in my city for the first time all year. I mean, I think for a week in the start of the spring they were open, but like I didn't go to one. So I'm ready to go get smashed. Responsibly, of course. But we're going to go turn up at the patio for a bit, me and my lady. But I don't even know. She might be watching. She doesn't know that yet. But babe, when we're done here, let's go to a patio. Okay. So anyways, a couple requests. But for those of you who weren't around in 2017, it gets dark when you're holding altcoins, especially if Bitcoin's going down. Like 2018 was absolute chaos in the sense that Bitcoin was dumping, altcoins versus Bitcoin were dumping, and that's where you get those 99.4% drawdowns on coins that actually still survived and came back and went into a bull market. So it's like, imagine that. Imagine holding through that and being like, haha, being that guy that's like, I held and now I'm at 10x. Point is, it'll draw on you, man. Like this breakdown here, like that's a stop loss level to me. I'm just going to pick on KMD here for a sec. This is a level where it's like, okay, if I was holding out and I'm like, okay, maybe. And you can see as soon as it broke, everyone got the fuck out. And so let's play the psychological game here on KMD. I'm holding, I'm Harry the holder. And, but I'm like, look, if you got diamond hands and you're legit, like, yeah, I'm actually just holding. It's a small amount. Don't care. Got cash flow. I got a good job, cool. Do that. But most of us, let's be honest, most people aren't. They're average people. They're regular guys like you and me, and they just want to make money. And so holding through the uncertainty and the grossness that can be, as long as this takes, if it's a bear market, even worse. But even if this is a bull market, which is what I'm betting on, at least in the short term, like we'll see we'll see Bitcoin move up here, I think, and then whatever. Dominance will rise as Bitcoin breaks out and altcoins break down. That's what we want to see if we're bulls, because that's like potentially the beginning of a new liquidity cycle where Bitcoin breaks out, it makes new highs, it gets all rah, rah, rah. We're in a bull market. Here we go. MACD is going to be in divergence on this high here. God, I'm so like ADHD right now. But point is, if we're about to go into a bull and I don't sell here, if I don't take the stop loss in this breakdown, I have to be prepared to hold this thing to anywhere. And I might feel like I am today. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to sell here, so I guess I'm holding. That's the kind of attitude. If you're like, I guess I'll hold, you will sell the bottom. Let me put it that way. And of course you'd be like, well, I did once and I didn't. Okay, cool. But people in general, if they're like holding like de facto holders just because they didn't get out at the top, they'll eventually sell. The market won't reverse until they do. It's that type of person that the market is hunting, as if it is this scary beast with a mind of its own. So I would caution people who didn't plan to be holders, sitting here thinking today I'm going to become a holder. Because oftentimes it'll drive you insane. It'll give you a little bit of hope and then tear your heart out again. Give you a little bit of hope, tear your heart out again. And then eventually it's like, I'm fucking sick of this. I'm done. I've been watching other things pump and I'm just out. And then you look back maybe 2 weeks later and it's like, ha. So I don't know what you're going to take out of that, except for that markets has a way of tricking people into thinking they can be holders and then tricking them into thinking that selling is the best thing. And it's usually just to escape the negative emotion that is associated with holding something that just keeps going down. And so again, whether or not, so let's just say I'm right and we are going to break out here on Bitcoin and things are going to get a little shinier for a bit. This is still going to go down versus Bitcoin, most likely. And so that's the other side of it. So, okay, let's take away my last example where it's like, oh, it's super bearish, it's going to make you sell, bottom. just say we're in a bull market, which in some ways we might be. And then Bitcoin starts to really run. Let me find an old Bitcoin chart here. Let's go BinFuts. BTC USD. Let's get it out here on the weekly for fun. Let's go back to the big old pump that the 2017 OGs love and hate. Through this, altcoins were getting demolished. Absolutely racked. And it wasn't until December 7th, like right around here, that ETH BTC bottomed and then took off, and they all went insane, 100x's, like blow off top. Everything was up 10x, even if it was a shitcoin, 100x's all around, 50x, 20x, whatever. Right here, that was it. They had a really nice run when I joined. That's actually kind of what drew me in. Ethereum was going crazy from like whatever it was, $20 to $70 to $100 to $200, $300, and like other altcoins were going crazy. There might have been another little pocket here where altcoins did okay, but there was no rip-roaring bull. It was like the spring rally, end of year rally. All through this, if I held all altcoins, I might be up or down in USD. Didn't really matter because my Bitcoin value was just going. So I might have started the year with, old Johnny started the year with 3 Bitcoin, and then he watched Bitcoin go on an absolute run, and he looked at his portfolio and he had 0.72 Bitcoin. I mean, that's how extreme it was. So those altcoins he was holding, they were suddenly worth peanuts. And so what does he do? Probably on December 7th with ETH BTC, capitulates his alts. It got unbearable, and then he missed the 100x. So I don't know. I'm so rambling so hard. I feel like I was headed towards a point. I guess my point is, don't underestimate the power of this market to destroy your alt versus BTC value. Just don't get caught blindsided. Decide, okay? I could be wrong. Could be wrong about where this is all headed. But make a decision now and then stick to it. And I guess I wanted you to understand the risks. Because I think a lot of people, especially within the communities of these coins, it's like, we're going to the moon. It's like, maybe. But you want to be a trader, you got to smell the ebb and flow in the market. And this smells like reversal all day. And then we just don't know how far it's going to go. If Bitcoin breaks out here, fills that range, where the hell's my big range? Wherever it is, let's see. I don't know. I'm flustered now. I'm all fired up. If Bitcoin goes and fills this whole range, cool. If that's the end of it, cool. Maybe not so bad. Versus Bitcoin, they go down a bunch, but then they come back. But if we go up in here, and it's, can't write this off as an impossibility, but just say we do this thing, we squeeze up, and it's like, okay, cool. Alt's going to get wrecked versus BTC if that happens. But at least that could be the end of it. And then they come back down and they get their little counter trend rally. And this could be, this is like the end of June, and then whatever. It's a 4-hour chart. But if we get up here and those alts are just all wrecked versus BTC, and then Bitcoin just says, fuck you, I'm in a bull market, we are going to 100K. Still possible. Feels very improbable right now because of the emotion in the market. But don't write that off. It's not something to think can't happen. A fucking country just said we're going to put Bitcoin on a balance sheet, and like 6 other countries signaled that they want to as well. Do not write that off as a possibility just because we're super depressed right now. If that happens, suddenly those altcoins that we just like held through breakdown levels thinking we're just going to hold, they get like giga wrecked. And so I guess that's the point I was trying to make, is like, just like I'm going to FOMO in early. This is a key breakdown. Downtrend triple confirmed. And so yes, bearish retest is the best way to get out of that. But I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that I can hold this indefinitely. I'm also not going to fool myself, and this is where it gets really gross, guys. And I hate to be a bear on whatever if you like Komodo. But don't fool yourself into thinking that it can't go lower than that. Again, this is all versus Bitcoin. I don't know about USD. I'm not calling like crazy new lows on things like USD. But the market is a savage place. And a lot of people thought this was the bottom. It wasn't. So in a weird, gross way, this thing's actually just trending down. So anyways, I said we are going to pick on Komodo today just because the chart was there, and that key breakdown on this daily candle is a signal to me that if I was holding this coin and I wanted to be part of the Bitcoin thing, I don't, this is not going to accrue Bitcoin value for quite a while here. Okay. Couple of requests because I said we would, and maybe one of you stuck around just for that, and it would be a real dick move for me to sign off before I do it. So, but also I kind of want to. What are we at? 420. Huh. Happy 420, y'all. BNT. Okay. We're going to take a look at a few charts here. I'm going to go turbo rapid fire because I really do actually have to. Okay. First things first. Oh, there it is. Damn it. Oof. Should we be trading this right now? Live on the air? Kind of missed it. Wouldn't have mattered. I was going to probably set the ask at, oh my God, it hit the exact ask. A couple pips. Pips. Yeah. If I'm a betting man, I'd say we have to reject here for now. And we'll see what the weekend looks like, but my guess is we're done here. Should probably trade that. Fuck. Okay, let's do a couple more altcoins. We'll see if I can get in there. BNT. Yeah, similar thing on BNT versus Bitcoin. I'm assuming we're all asking about Bitcoin. Some people don't care. They're like, just tell me about USD. USD is a little more uncertain. And I guess my point is, if it's going to lose Bitcoin value, why not just sit in Bitcoin? But either way. BNT has a little ways to go. I don't think it's going to escape the gravity of this. Did it last time? Nope. And look at that. Patience paid, getting into that reload zone, even lost the reload zone at one point. That's why I don't blindly buy them. I really like to wait for that reversal within. And then, you're not buying the bottom. You're not even buying close to the bottom. I'm sure off the bottom, you're buying at, 78% rise. But you get that big fat W, and you break out, retest, and there you were. Volume rising. Sick. Patience paid. And then you got that sick run. And if you want to be a super obnoxious fib trader, you just take some profits over at that sweet spot. Boom. And then the 618. Boom. And then the 618. Like this shit. If you guys aren't already using fibs, I mean, there's so many good ways to trade, and you just do the one that makes you the most money or makes the most sense to you. But these things just fuck. They make sense to me. I love them. And they're easy. I think that's part of why I like them. They're simple. They're repeatable. Reliable, but they'll drive you nuts too, right? Sometimes the 618 is a perfect entry, sometimes it's not. It gets washed out. And then it gets washed out, so you stop loss yourself, and then it hits the sweet spot and bounces perfectly, and then so the next time you're like, fuck it, I'll just trade the sweet spot, and then it doesn't come, or it gets blown out and goes to the 786. It's not easy. Very easy in retrospect. But I've learned it. Takes some time. TronPad. Oh, awkward. I don't think I have TronPad on here because I don't like. It's not a Uniswap coin. TronPad. What is it on Binance or something? Oh, it's on BSC. Okay, I think I can check that actually. Good old Dex Tools. TronPad. More transactions on this one, so it's probably not the fake one. 12 cents. Yeah, I mean, it's a new project, and without fail, these things typically are coming out and just, what the hell? Give me a paintbrush, why don't you? These things, it's going to have to find a floor. I don't know, I don't want to say like it can't pump from here. We're not exactly in like a rip-roaring bull right now. So usually these come out, you got your investors, you got your pre-salers, you got your public sale buyers, you got the guys who FOMO'd in at the entrance here. And you just want to see all those weak hands get out. And that doesn't if you're up 20x, take your profits. This is not a weak-handed play, but I want to see that shake out. And typically that takes a little time, and you can usually do exactly what I always do, which is just fib it. It's kind of weird, but it works. We're actually at the sweet spot right now, if you want to count all this weird, noisy ass first candle. But I would personally give this time and wait. There's a few key signals I want to wait for here. One of them is buy volume. I want to see some buyers coming in like they did here, but that didn't last. So trend down as long as you need to. Don't care. Wherever you want to be. But once that big buys start coming in, it'll be pretty obvious. And then usually the price hasn't even moved yet. And you can spot that trend reversal coming. Right now, it's just too new. It's only been 2 days. It's a launch pad too. I'm blown away at how many launch pads exist right now. Like that's one part of the market that's going to have to get washed out so hard. There's just no. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. There's just not enough room. Even if there was 2,000 projects launching per year, you can't have 75 launch pads. There's just not enough juice. So it's going to be interesting. You know, DAO Maker is one that I'm a big fan of. I think they've got all the right bits. Super bullish on them longer term. I was in the pre-sale, full disclosure. I have sold some of my pre-sale tokens at a multiple, full disclosure. But I've still got some vested tokens coming, and I'm still holding some, and I'm super bullish on them. And that's just like, I didn't bring it up to bring that up, but like I was talking about it this morning with Rob actually from Hxro. Like there's a lot of launch pads in the space now getting super saturated, and there's only a handful that will stick around through like cycles, because like pre-sales, ICOs, like that shit gets so bearish for a while, and then they get into these hype cycles. There's just too many launch pads now, I think, and there's still more coming out. There's like 10 that I know of that are launching in the next few months. So we'll see. This is one I think is going to have some staying power. Obviously right now, I mean, it was a 10-cent pre-sale, so like it's still up 26x. There's probably some sellers in there. But for the vested tokens, you can actually use this bridge, this fee bridge, to essentially get your vested tokens right away, but you pay a fee and they get burned. So if there are weak hands in here, they've had the opportunity to sell too, so who knows. But, you know, Polka Starter was really hot. They're probably going to stick around a bit. I was not in that pre-sale. Too bad. They get like 200x'd. But yeah, chart woo for fun. All right, let's have some fun. Woo. But yeah, so I guess that's my take on Tron Pad. It's like, cool. I don't know of any Tron launch pads, but eventually, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. There's just so many freaking launch pads. I was so bullish on DAO Maker when I first heard about it, because I was like, oh my God, you know, like a thing that runs sales on their platform. I hadn't really heard of launch pads at the time. And, you know, Polka Starter was new, and there's a few others, you know, Samurai over on the CyberFi is another good one. And now there's just like Soul Starter, Soul Pad, BSC launch, BSC Pad. There's just, it's a copycat game, guys. And eventually they're going to run out of quality projects to launch. A bunch of their shit that's going to come out is going to just dump like crazy. No one will want to use them, and they'll die. There, I said it. Now, I don't know which ones I'm calling will die. None of the ones I just mentioned in particular, but like most will. So I'm all for the hype cycle, though, man. Let's enjoy it while I can. Woo has been capturing people's attention lately. I don't know why I just put this big, ugly... I'm not connected to my wallet right now, so I don't have my presets. That's why the chart looks a little gross. But, you know, you have to hold some like 5,000 chart tokens, which are suddenly like 2 cents. I think they ran to like 17 cents, but yeah. So we're up in that, you know, short reload zone. Can't really short Woo. But I was looking at Woo to buy the other day. I missed it. You know, I missed it. I was looking at it to buy because, you know, it's not on Binance. It's not on these. But like now the trade was like this W. Right? So just say you're here, right? And that's your, I know it's not as pretty, guys, but there's your reload zone. W in the reload zone, breakout. Like there was a trade there. And given the kind of crab market we're in, that's like a great time to just take profit up in the short reload zone, and that's what people are doing. But that's a big breakout on volume here. So yeah, I like Woo. I think there's a lot of hype behind it. It's a strong project. And so if we get back into, you know, a little reload zone off that reload zone, suddenly I got a new trade. The one I was looking for this week I missed, unfortunately. But yeah, get down into here, wherever that's going to look like. Maybe it's sharper. But yeah, I think Woo's going to end up being quite a bit more at some point. I did hold some. You know, we talked about it on stream, actually. I swapped my Razor for it right on this dip. Razor was like losing the lows, and Woo just looked so much better. Remember, we swapped it directly on Uniswap, and then I ended up selling it in the low ones just because it was a fucking trade. And Razor, oh my God, like good thing we got the fuck out of there. I think I sold it at 31 cents, like because we had lost the lows, right? I was like, like which chart looks better, Woo or Razor? So we jumped on the Woo train, and look at that. That's remarkable. And this is why you don't want to get attached to a coin. I like Razor. I thought it was cool. Fully decentralized Oracle. But look, it's just completely dead. There is no volume. Holy shit. I wonder if they just like abandoned it. That's what that chart looks like. That chart looks like it was completely abandoned. I'm going to take that as a win. You know, and let that be a lesson, guys. That's like a lesson for me too. Because I don't always do that. I don't always just like jump ship. I say, no, you know, you had to trade your plan. But like on the stream that day, somebody said, look at Woo. And after talking about it, I was like, God, this chart just looks way better. And with Uniswap, I can just swap directly from one to the other. And I did. And I actually got out fairly close, I think break even on my Razor because I caught the gain here. And then kind of why I closed it too. I was like, fuck it. Got my money back, get out and reset. And then I just happened to be before the big dump. Woo BTC, shit. Can you do that? Is it trading against Bitcoin anywhere? Feels like the kind of thing that'll eventually get listed on Binance, doesn't it? Oh, Huobi, got it. Oh! Ooh. So that's the other thing. Like all those Binance charts we scan, there's only a couple versus Bitcoin that look shortable. This one looks shortable. I mean, not like, you know, I just talked about Woo. I think it's strong. I don't really want to short it. Fundamentally, it's like FTT. It's not one that I'm like, oh, this looks weak. But if I want to express my bearishness of altcoins versus Bitcoin, I need to find the altcoin that is up in its range, that is, you know, near of an invalidation level, shortable, with lots of room to go down. I don't really trade on Huobi. I have an account there, but I never chart it. So I should do a Huobi scan too, because there's some anomalies there. I don't know. This doesn't look that bearish. Don't really want to short it, but it's up in the range. That's one of the criteria. So geez, look at Doge on the 15-minute. Okay, you guys are stringing me along here because I do want to look at Doge and everything you guys talk about. Oh, see, now this is why I don't short where that was. Look at that. We might be getting a Doge setup here, guys. Right? So I was pissed because I was like, okay, you know, fundamentally, I think I could short the shit out of Doge if Elon is the only thing holding it up. Guy's pretty volatile. Yeah, okay, Doge to Mars, whatever. But I just don't get it. I don't get it. So if I think Bitcoin's going to rip, run, and rally, or dump and go crazy, either way, altcoins versus Bitcoin probably suck. And then I see my old friend Doge here, which I think is fundamentally way out of whack with anything you could call a valuation. Then I want to short it. So like we said earlier today, like, yeah, this would have been a great place to short from. This is not. No matter how much I think this will break down and take this back, I can't short that. So yeah, 15-minute looks like it's waking up. So if we trend up from here, which actually, based on this pen, it looks like really, that might even be a little nice trade right there. You know, fuck waiting for it to go back up. Why not trade it back up there? Can I find a reason? Can I go hunting for some reasons? I mean, we're in the reload zone. Fib Pong, baby. This is actually, oof. Who brought this up? Timea. It's not a bad idea. I know you didn't suggest to long it. You just said look at it on the 15-minute. But now that I look at this is my jam. This is my Fib Pong. Huge rally, big smackdown. Fib, 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 fib. Like that's the consolidation. So call me crazy, but versus Bitcoin, this is almost like something you want to buy. I'm like interested in like longing it up to here maybe. I don't know. That is not a trade recommendation, by the way, but it's something that just popped into my head. Definitely want to take a look at that. Let's go see how... Oh, fucker. See? Okay. Should have cut the stream an hour ago. Look at this thing. Or 20 minutes ago. Just got the fill of the lifetime. Right up into the POC. Right up into the 786. Womp womp. Add it to the list. Anyways, I wonder if anyone watching live with the same setup was like, yeah, because that's actually sick. That's what you get, right? If you're prepared for this, you don't change your mind when you see a big green candle. You go, that's my fill. Because you want that green candle to make your fill. Could just break out here, but some nice volume on that red candle there. Shit. All right, well, I think we'll flip back to studio here, guys. I am considering a low time frame short here, just overnight into the weekend. But let me be clear on one thing that you must be clear on by now, unless you joined us partway. Also, if you haven't already and you're not subscribed to the channel and you're still watching, if you guys want to sub, that kind of stuff lights my fire, gets me fired up. Liking the video is a great way to let us know that you appreciate the content, and by us I mean we. Oh God, I mean me. But yeah, just to be clear, maybe another little squeeze down over the weekend, which might age really well if we have a bullish Monday open. Like I said, don't trust weekend price action. So if we break out here, it's almost worse. It's like, God damn it, fake out. But I'm bullish from here. I am. I'm picking my side, and I don't have to go all in. I don't have to leverage up. I don't have to be wrecked if I'm wrong. But for what it's worth, we had every reason to break down here and nuke, and we didn't. We put in bullish divergence, and then we rallied like $4,000 or $5,000. President of El Salvador is building volcano mines. Biden's having a speech about it. Everyone everywhere is talking about cryptocurrency. I'm not ready to put this one to sleep here after regaining this pennant and, buy volume ticking up. I'm bullish on Bitcoin from this level. Now, if I'm wrong and we trend back down here, my invalidation high time frame, probably where I'm just like, fuck, I got to puke my bag again, is like 34K. At this point, and that's the gross thing about the market, right? Is that we could chop like that. We could do that and still just do that. Like these crab markets will drive you nuts. But as far as waiting for the next big move, if we do something like this, like I'm like, fuck, I guess the next big move is probably down. But I think it's up. I think it's up. That's it. I think it is. Probably like 65% probability. So that's still a wide error margin, but how did you get started learning? Mr. Goodsman. Oh God, an hour ago you asked this question. If you're still watching, Mr. Goodsman, therationalinvestor.com. I'm not going to shy away from it. They don't sponsor me. They're buddies of mine now because I've been in the program, but that's where I learned how to trade. And I didn't start there. I started was just like on Twitter and all those random things, bought a few books. But that course was like direct education injection into my brain, and it's legit. The founder is great guy. He's like a 30-year vet, and he's been through it. So, and he's created this whole education program. So it's really dope. But anyways, I digress, but you asked. Let's take a quick look at AVAX. See, I was hoping AVAX would do this, I guess, or something like that. But and this is it, right? This is like the KMD chart. You get that initial breakdown, get that bearish retest, get the fuck out, because, these things are coming in. They're coming in hot. In a nutshell, I'd say bullish AVAX long-term, yes. It's just not ready. It's not even close to ready. It's just starting a much broader downtrend. I mean, this was the start, and now it's like trending down. And these downtrends and then the chop that follows during the bottoming process takes months, typically. So if I'm a big fan of AVAX here, I'm patient. And I am a big fan of AVAX, sort of. Like, fundamentally, I'm like, yeah, I want some of that. And I've been waiting. I kept thinking I was going to miss it just because of how much I was waiting. Now I'm like, oh, shit. Patience to the max. So, yeah. Wait for whatever this is going to be, setting a range high, right? And then wait for that range high to break and get some like buy volume bubbling up like it was here. See this buy volume? That was a sign that buyers were getting serious and stepping in. And look at that. So wait for some buy volume to start coming back into the market. It's probably going to get really boring and depressing and quiet for a little bit first. And that could be months. Apparently there's like an alt season, kind of like an alt window sometimes, late summer, August. So, July, probably a time where I'll be starting to look at some of these charts again a little more seriously and being like, oh, fuck, I'm going to start loading up. But we're just looking for a bottom now. We're not even beginning to form one, right? You got to find like kind of a low, and then you got to form a bottom, and then you got to start working towards a breakout. So we got months away, Alpha 7979, probably months. Dump it, RT. Dump your bags. We know you're a big old rainbow bearer. No, I'm not. DeFi Summer V2, man, that would be dope. Sugar TX, yeah, I'd love that. I would love that. But yeah, I mean, look at this thing. God, I got to get off here. I keep saying that for like the last 40 minutes, but like, look at that. It just won't go away. I mean, God, if we were going to dump, do it already. I don't know. It still could, but I'm not buying it. I think the bulls are back. I think we're squeezing around here. I think there's a lot of shorts on Bitfinex. There's probably a lot of longs too. And those guys who are short on Bitfinex could be long on FTX. You never know. The spread trades and shit that they're doing over there. But I know historically, Bitfinex shorts, nice omen, but could be psyops. Go long somewhere big time and then run up a huge short on Bitfinex that everyone can see because mysteriously it's one of the only places you can chart on TradingView that has the open interest. And then get everyone to sell all their Bitcoin at weekly support. Where's that weekly? You know, and this is why like this shit will drive you nuts. Like, I don't fucking know who's shorting it on Bitfinex. I don't care. I don't trade based off that. I think it's interesting discussion for Twitter, but I'm not going to sit here and speculate what that is. But like, imagine the psyops of that. Open up the biggest short in history. Doesn't really matter because you have an even bigger long or whatever on some other exchange that's more hidden. And then you just convince everyone to sell all their Bitcoin to you at this friggin' weekly support. How savage would that be? Possible. I don't know about probable. But anyways, let's get back to the studio here, guys. I'm going to wrap up in a minute here because I got to go. Patios are open. It's a beautiful day. It's 4:43. So we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. We've had a really good stream. I think you guys, through this stream, you probably saw me kind of come up with my thesis as we went. At the start, I was kind of like, this could happen, that could happen, this could happen. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is 50% down off its highs. A new country has adopted it. Altcoins are looking like trash right now. They are out of season. You guys have seen it in DeFi summer. If you just joined in 2021, go look back at the charts. It happens. Your favorite project doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a speculator's market, and they will almost all wash out. And if they don't, if one of them doesn't, take note of that one. Solana looks pretty strong here. I don't think it'll survive any better than the others. But they're probably going to wash out, especially versus Bitcoin, whether it goes up or down. So that's my TLDR today. I think if I can find off that baby blue list some coins versus Bitcoin to short, then I might margin some of my Bitcoin to do that so I can get more Bitcoin while hopefully Bitcoin squeezes up here. I would be shocked if we just go into a big stupid bear market here and we never touch this 20-week moving average first. And that's part of what's driving me to think that we have to squeeze up here on the shorter time frames. On the higher time frames. And then you just look at all the other shit I just looked at. So that's my thesis. I'm sticking to it. I'm spot long. Invalidation, probably reconsidering my life choices around 34K. I don't want to see this pennant break down. And that's the one we looked at on the hourly. So, keep an eye on that. And in the meantime, one thing I've been doing in the last few weeks, playing a little more golf, hitting the bike, got the Peloton going a little more, trying to get in shape. One thing we can do through this summer to get the W is like self-improvement. So I guess my takeaway for today would be find something that you've been neglecting over the last few months or year because of Bitcoin, because of this alt rally, whatever. Pull yourself away from the charts just a little bit and get outside, go see somebody, whatever that thing is you've been neglecting, and hit it up. Take the guaranteed W, which in my case is physical fitness. I've been getting fat. Like for me, like I've been like 205 pounds. Like I need to go hit the gym. So I'm going to be getting that going this summer. So like at the end of the summer, it's like, I don't care where all this is at because I'm going to be jacked. That's sort of my plan. And if you guys have something you've been neglecting, whether that's yourself or other people or an activity, whatever, reading, get after it. Treat yourself to a guaranteed win. And with that, I think we'll wrap today. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. And whatever you do between now and next time, always play from a position of strength. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.